Hey everybody, ReefGrrl here, and welcome to ReefGrrl Live. I am so happy you could make it. The whole idea here is to have some fun, chat, get some questions answered, maybe show off what you're doing, and get to know each other a little bit better. So sit back, relax, grab a drink. The stream is about to begin. Hi. Nice to see everybody here already. Whoa, it jumped up to 15 people since I looked about 10 seconds ago and it was 8. So I will say hi to everyone in the chat. Some of you have been here for a while. Mayor Reef has been here since 7:54 p.m. That's a long time. Wow. First here. ReefGrrl is next. Yeah, me and my shaggy bangs because I've been cutting them myself and it shows. Benny Fernandez. Hey, Benny. Second. And he says, hit like as soon as you get in. That would be awesome. I'm not one to beg for likes, but I understand the YouTube algorithm works in such a way that if you get, somebody said 50 in the first hour or so, they push the video out a little further. So everything helps, right? Thanks, Benny, for mentioning that. JMZ MRZ. Can you sell me a frag of the Space Invader Pectinia? Can't find it in Northern California. Unfortunately, I'm in Canada, which means it would need permits to cross the border. And I've looked into that extensively, and it's a chicken and egg situation where you need an export permit from the country you're sending it from and an import permit from the country you're sending it to. And the fee to make an application is $75, and there's no guarantee it's going to be approved. So I sort of backed away from that because I had intended to try and get a permit, but it's just too expensive, too complicated, too uncertain. So unfortunately, can't ship across the border, or I would. Hey, Braveheart Reefer 525, welcome from the UK, up again in the middle of the night. Broke Reef Man 45, hello. Insane Reefer, hey Insane Reefer, how's it going, Oscar? Bongo's Reef is here, another person from the UK sacrificing the middle of the night sleep. Yeah, it's what, 3 a.m. over there or something, or maybe it's a little early. I can never figure out the time difference, so, but I know it's several hours. Who else do we have here? Bongo's Reef, 2Gay Reefers, hello from Australia. I'm not even going to try and guess what time it is down there, guys, but welcome. WVU Reefer, he is in from Best Virginia. Who else? Hey, Straight Reefer, how's it going? And there's T40. T40's a regular. We always see him in here. John Evans. Hi, John. I don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome. And there's K-Reef Aquarium Hobby, checking in also from Europe, from the Netherlands. So, hi, Kevin. Thank you for coming by. Marcus Aurelius 187. YouTube suggested, so I figured why not pop in. That is awesome to hear. I've been wondering how that actually all works. I do sometimes look to see if any of my videos or anything that's going on is suggested in what I see, and it really varies as to what I see. So that's cool that they suggested it. Thank you for mentioning that. It's awesome. Hi, Mermaids Reef, and hello, Karen Edwards. We've got G. Rodriguez, first time here. Hello from Chicago. We loved Chicago when we went last fall to Reefapalooza, and I would go back there again in a heartbeat. It's a wonderful city. Who else is here? Rob's Reef is here. Whoa, it just jumped. I don't want to miss anybody. Rob's Reef, hello. William Peace Jr., hello. And there's Sean's Fish Tanks. Bert Minshaw, howdy. Mermaids Reef says she keeps missing the live stream because she can't remember what day it is because of quarantine. Oh yeah, I can relate to that. There have been days I've had to look at my iPhone to see what day it actually is, and that's not a word of a lie. It just, the time moves at a different pace. Hello, KC Nano. And whoa, Rob's Aquariums. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. It really helps go towards keeping the stream going, and every little bit helps, and certainly that's very generous of you. Thank you so much. Oh, it's 11 a.m. Sunday, where the two gay reefers are in Australia. Okay. I don't even want to try and figure out how many hours that is because I'll be sitting here looking dazed. American Reefing is here. Hello. Karen is in from South Dakota. That's cool. There's Hillbilly Reefer. Oh, and Kevin, he was on his way back home, left for work exactly 24 hours ago. Wow. K-Reef, if you feel like dropping in, you can maybe tell us what your work is that you're away for 24 hours like that, or that's one heck of a traffic jam. Oh, WV Reefer has been a naughty boy today. He spent the day gardening and yard work instead of water testing. I don't think that's naughty at all because that's good exercise. If you get your hands in the soil, it keeps you connected, and it's good for the soul, I believe. Although I don't do much of it, but according to my sister, who's a master gardener, that's why she does it. So maybe someday I'm going to have to just buckle down and try. Acro Breeder, hello. He says, hi, Reef Girl and Reef Nerds. Sean's Fish Tanks is asking if anyone has picked up any candy at the candy store. I know my LFS does curbside pickup. So if you call them, if you're looking for something, they can tell you if they have it, and you can buy it and go pick it up. And in fact, based on an Instagram posting, I've had them set aside an orangey red Cinerina for me. And I just have to go pick that up at some point when we can get up there. You do the thing, you wait in line. When it's your turn at the door, they go get the thing for you, you pay for it, you go back to your car. So it's very possible people have picked up candy at the candy store. Oh, K-Reef says he can jump in for a while. All right, Kevin, if you send me an email at reefgrrl@gmail.com, I will reply to it with the link. And you can maybe come in and join us. And Sean's Fish Tanks had asked about the reef or the link as well. And so, Sean, if you didn't get my email from earlier, just also shoot me a quick email, and we'll send that out to you. Much better than sitting here listening to me the whole night, believe me. And, oh, nice. That must be because of my Cinerina. I was going to highlight. John Evans said Worldwide Corals is doing curbside too. So wow, you'd have a whole website to pick from to order something from there. Hey, Little Ocean. Thanks for coming by, and thank you. That's great. And there's Kimber Reefs. Nice to see you, Kim. You've been busy in the garden, I saw from Instagram. Great time of year for it. And I think, oh, two gay reefers say they bought a super light blue clam. Nice. I'm getting a little nervous about moving my clam Stanley. I'm going on Monday again to where the other tank is. It's at my daughter's house. And I should explain, their house has a separate area that used to be a doctor's office. They bought, the former owner is a retired GP. So there's a separate entrance, there's a separate suite of rooms, and my tank is in what used to be the kitchen that went with the doctor's office. So there's a sink there. It's very, very convenient. So it's kind of nice because I go to my daughter's house. I can get the little smiles from my grandson from 6 feet away. And it serves a double purpose. So I'm going on Monday again. I'm going to do a 10-gallon water change, so I have to take the water with me, the salt water, and some testing because I set up dosing on Friday. And on Monday I'm going to test and just see where things are at, and if it's close enough that I feel I can start doing some major moving, then I will start bringing some of the large corals I have on my sand bed, the Cinerinas, the fox coral, Buster the Symphilia, and see how those do. Just start out that way because once they're moved over, then it's going to be a matter of actually taking apart the pieces of rock and moving them. So baby steps, but once I get started, once I'm satisfied with the water quality, then I should be able to do things fairly quickly, as long as I do a lot of testing and stay on top of all the levels. So I saw someone earlier, I think it might have been Braveheart Reefer, was asking whether I'd started taking the tank apart yet. And essentially I'm moving everything that's loose. And during that process, I'm monitoring the water quality so that once I feel that it's stable enough, I'll start moving the bigger pieces. It's a crapshoot. Who knows what's going to happen? So a couple more people came in. I'm going to say hi, and then I've got Sean's fish tanks, and I'm going to let him come into the studio. Who else we got? Johnny Martinez. Hello. Johnny has a question. His magnesium is high, over 1600s. What can I do to lower it? Magnesium is one of those that there really isn't anything to counteract it. I'm assuming everything else is in balance. All I can suggest is check your salt mix and make sure that's not what's creating the high magnesium levels when you do water changes. And if the magnesium level in your salt, in your new water made from your salt, is normal or within a range that you can live with, then I would start doing water changes to try and bring it down. It could very well be that it has a high magnesium level, and if that's the case, you may have to get a different batch of salt, or switch to a different brand if the brand you have generally creates high magnesium. I'm sure people in the chat will also have some advice about that. So I don't know if that helps, but that's what I would do in your situation. What else is going on over here? Marcus Aurelia? What a mess, yeah. Rob's Aquariums is asking if anyone has had good experiences ordering coral online during the pandemic. And a couple people have ordered. Have some comments. Mariana Tancheva, nice to see you here. I don't think I've seen you here before, so welcome. Oh, Bert Minshew. My woman just got me a bright red and blue flame angel. I was worried, but so far he has been a model citizen. They are beautiful fish. And hopefully, if it's a young one, it will remain a model citizen. Let's see. Oh, Marcus Aurelius 187. You could add brand new rock also. Are you referring to the magnesium issue from Johnny Martinez? Possibly. And the other thing is, Johnny, I never thought of it. If you don't have a lot of coralline algae, you could maybe try to grow some, maybe get a scraping from somebody's tank, or I know Fish of Hex used to have it, and if you let him know that you're a vet, he may get some for you and send it along. He does find it difficult to collect, and he had it on his website for sale, but he said honestly it's a pain in the ass to gather, so he stopped selling it. But he might be able to help you out as a special favor. But if you grow coralline algae, magnesium, it acts as a sink for magnesium, and it will consume a lot. Because that's the other option. If your coralline has been dying, it could be releasing magnesium into the water. That has happened to me. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. Who else have I not said hi to? Tar Heel Reefer, hello. I think that's everybody. I see. Marcus Aurelia says brand new rocks soak up magnesium, it binds to the surface. Yeah, and that could be where the whole coralline algae sink comes from. I'm going to bring Sean in because he's been waiting over here in the waiting room. And there he is. Hey, Sean's fish tanks. Can you hear us?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'm doing good.
You.
I was doing a little. Can you? Oh, you can hear me good?
Yes.
Okay. Good. I was asking about the candy because I was a bad boy myself. Hello?
Hello, yep.
I think I've got a bad connection
Yeah, I think
because
there's
it's like freezing on me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I think there's a delay. Maybe go out and I'll bring you back in again.
Okay. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I ended up picking up some candy myself. I was a bad boy in the candy store, so. And I noticed you were saying that you had something you were getting yourself, so I just figured I'd put it out there. I ended up picking up something on Live Aquaria that came in, and I was drooling over it, and I couldn't leave it alone.
You're going to show it to us, right?
I will, but it hasn't arrived. It's coming Monday, I think. Probably Tuesday, actually, I would think. Because they didn't want to ship it to me on Friday. But it's a three-headed gold torch.
Oh, nice.
Not torch, gold hammer. Remember I was talking last week about the piece that I killed?
Yep.
The orange hammer when I moved into the house. Well, I've been looking for one, and they have been out of stock. And then when they opened up Australia, I was checking all the big-time sellers that I know sell Aussie stuff that is wild, of course, just because everybody who frags it was on stock. So I ended up finding several and just didn't have the money for them, and they were so expensive. There goes my main lights on me. But they were so expensive that they were just out of my price range. There was two on Live Aquaria. One was going for over $600, and that's out of my price range. They also had some Aussie elegances, and I had one in my very first reef tank, and that was the only one I was ever successful with, was an Aussie one, and that one was huge. So I've been wanting one of those too, but I don't think I'm getting one because I got my hammer.
Well, that's something. I'm trading a gift card for my orange Cinerina. So because I was getting store credit for all my frags, and I have enough to do that. So Sean, there's a really loud hum.
That sounds like a pretty fair deal. Anytime you're trading something, sounds like a great plan.
Yeah, exactly. It costs me nothing.
I feel like I'm freezing on you again.
Yeah, there's quite a loud hum from yours. Let me just mute you for a second while I say hi to a few more people, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, then I'm going to bring Benny in because Benny's here. Be right back. Okay, let's say hi to some more people. Go through here. I saw there's poking clams 24/7. You don't need to buy coralline. You eventually get it in the tank. Yes, that's very true. And if you want to speed things up, if you have a specific issue, then it might be helping. It might help to bring some in. Eggboy64, hello. He says he ordered a bunch of frags from Frag Garage in Victoria, BC. Arrived perfectly, all good. And Eggboy, I know you're in Ontario, so that's impressive. All right, I'm going to bring Benny in. Hey, Benny, how are you?
Hey, what is going on, ReefGrrl? Can you hear me?
Yep. Things are looking good.
Bad connection. It's actually, yeah. Thank you. A little noisy in the house. I got the TV playing and all that stuff, and I got the little one running around. So excuse the noise in the background. But
tank is looking nice.
Yeah, thank you. I got a few issues going on here, and I guess few challenges that I want to share. First is I guess I would say the flatworm. I haven't actually done the flatworm treatment yet.
Oh yeah.
So I see a few flatworms all over the glass display. So, in addition to that, I have treated, or have been treating well, not treated, but I separated few of my fishes into another tank right there, because of ick. So I have separated them for about 2 weeks now,
Right.
and I would, I don't know, maybe because what I did recently, I transferred, due to the flatworm, I transferred the rest, the 6 line rest over here to see if what do you call this, to see if it'll take care of the flatworms, but I haven't
That's
really
a good
seen them.
that's a good idea.
But my question is that, all right, so it's been 2 weeks since I transferred the fishes over here to another tank, and I don't see any sign of ick at all. And I see them eating, they're enjoying, they're having a good time. Um, was that a good step? Was that a good move to transfer the 6 line wrasse over there?
Did you Okay, you moved your fish from your 40 over to the other smaller tank?
Correct.
Was that smaller tank a quarantine tank?
Technically, it's a no, not really. I just separated it. I never actually put coppermine.
Okay,
I didn't
so
do any medication at all.
right, so you just
Cause
moved your fish into a different tank.
right,
And was there fish in that tank already?
no, no. Actually,
Okay.
there was originally that was my first tank.
Right.
Then I transferred everything over to the 40, leaving the 24
Yeah.
gallon empty. So for about a couple of days prior to 2 weeks ago, I started putting water from the 40 to the 24. Then I transferred over the fish, all my fishes over to the 24.
Right. So none of them had ick that you have seen up until now, right?
Right. No, there's no ick. I haven't seen any ick at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think it was a mistake to put the 6 line over,
Right.
because it has to come from somewhere, and if you still have all the same fish you had before and none of them had ick, they're just in a different tank. So I don't know where ick could come in unless it came in on some new livestock you got.
Right.
So,
So is it safe to transfer all the fishes back into the 40?
I don't see why not.
Why not, right?
Unless the 6 line is a new fish that has not been quarantined.
No,
You know,
yeah, when all the fishes was at the 40, I saw the clowns had ick, the angel, the yellow tang had ick, the sailfin. Um, I saw about 3 out of 6 had ick, and that's why I transferred all 6 fishes over to the 24 from the
oh,
40.
okay. So you did have
Yeah,
some ick. Right.
right, right.
And then the six
So,
line had been with those fish and you moved him
yes,
back?
right.
Oh, okay. I don't
So the
know.
question,
I
yeah,
I think you're in a situation where if the 6 line is separate from the other fish, you can observe them. Unless the other
right.
fish are suffering being in the smaller tank, you know.
Hmm. Right,
I
right,
don't know,
right,
mate. Yeah, if and Bert Minshaw says if the fish are healthy, they will beat ick. So if you can
right.
maintain the water quality and all of that, and
Hmm.
watch them really carefully, and the Salcon, if you have any, add it to their food. Feed
Yes,
them really well.
right. I actually have been feeding them for the past 2 weeks, salcon and garlic, every day for the past 2 weeks.
Right.
So I was just a little worried now because my flatworms were getting, were growing, a lot, and that's why I was like, okay, first, I don't see ick anymore on all the fishes that I had since I separated them to another tank without treating them. So I felt like, okay, it's a good idea to transfer one to get rid of the flatworm and see if
Mm-hmm.
the rats would actually, have ick or get ick, because how does it work? It's an egg that drops in a sand bed. Is that how that eggs work?
Its life cycle has 4 stages. I can't
Right.
tell you the names of the 4 stages, but let's call it stage 1 is the free swimming parasite burrows into the fish's gills usually,
Right.
and it lives inside there. Then
Hmm.
and that's where it matures. Then when it matures, it emerges through the skin, and that's
Right.
when you see what look like the white grains of salt, right?
Right.
So
On the body
those
of the fish. Right.
that's right. So they drop off the fish, and when they reach the sand bed or other surfaces, they mature and change into a different form, which is the free swimming form again. So then it reinfects the host, and it's a constant cycle. I thought there were 4 stages. I can't think of what the other one is. There must be
Yeah.
eggs somewhere, but essentially they grow in the fish, then they
Right.
emerge from the fish, and they reproduce and become free swimming, and then burrow into the fish again.
Hmm.
So that's why the only really true way to avoid ick or to stamp it out is to have no host for it.
Right. For 72 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I broke that rule. I couldn't help it for about
Yeah,
2 weeks. I said,
yeah,
listen, it's either the ick or the what do you call this? The flatworms.
yeah,
So
exactly.
I
Well,
mean
I mean,
I'm gonna yeah.
if your fish look healthy and they're not looking sicker and sicker, just keep a really close eye on them and really high water quality. Feed them a lot. It'll take
Mhm.
some extra work, but you might be able to get through it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I'm actually doing right now. I'm taking a risk. Since I
yeah,
don't see any sign of ick after I have transferred them to the 24 gallon,
yeah.
I'm
You're
gonna I'm
thinking,
gonna I'm gonna just
yeah,
try with a 6 line for a week or two, and if I don't see any sign of fatigue on them, then I'll go ahead and slowly transfer maybe the yellow tang, the sailfin tang, or a
yeah,
pair of clowns,
yeah.
just to see
Some,
how it works.
yeah. Camaro Kid. Hey, Camaro Kid. He has a recommendation. He says check Rotter Tube Reef channel if you want to know about ick.
Hmm.
If you haven't heard
Okay.
of Steve Rotter. And Reef Keeper says, hi, Reef Girl and everyone. Hey, Phil. He says you possibly now have ick in both tanks, so you either separate and quarantine or live with it. It is doable, and I think you'll find a lot of reef keepers with experience with ick will tell you they live with it.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm about to do. But before that, um, I'm actually in the process of making some changes in the tank. I'm actually doing a lot of DIY stuff. So just want to share with you real quick that this is the 40. And as you see, I don't have any type of sump. I don't have any sump filtration or anything like that.
Yep.
Back there is a Fluval 70, which I have my refugium and a poly filter pad on the top. That's what I've been running for the past 2 weeks. Because what I'm planning to do is actually make my own filter system, make
Oh
my own
yeah.
sump. So this is a 20-gallon high that I got from Petco, which is that dollar per gallon sale thing that they have going on.
Yep.
As you see, there's a lot of masking tapes on the outer part of the tank, and I went to Home Depot and purchased a glass. I think it's three by 32s. It's really thin, so I'm taking a risk of how it's going to work because that's the only thing that they have at Home Depot
Yep.
for the pre-cut one. So I'm actually making my own some here. As you see, I have an egg crate
Yep.
that where I'm gonna lean my my poly filter or sponge, and this is where I'm going to put. Oops, this is where I'm going to put my I would say, in from the main display.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. So, and then I have my first baffle here, which is about 8 inches high, based on the protein skimmer recommendation for the water level.
Yep.
And then from there, so I got the water coming in here, which the protein skimmer is in this area. And I got the refugium here, and I have a 7-inch baffle that I'm gonna put a biological filter here, media filter.
Yep.
And I guess I have 1, 2, 3 baffles that would help me with the micro bubble thingy, right? That's what it
Yep.
does to reduce the mic. And then here is my um, return pump that goes back up.
Cool.
So
And you
that's
know
what I've
what?
been working on. Yes.
If you want to see one designed that works almost exactly like that, I have a playlist called 20 Gallon Nano with 15-gallon sump, and my husband actually designed it, but that's the system that I ran for my very first sump. So take a look at some of the early videos and
Right.
see if it kind of is what you had in mind. There might be
Mm-hmm.
some hints and tips in there. And a couple
Right,
people
right,
in the
right.
chat are talking about your ick thing. Rob's Reef is asking about adding copper to the smaller tank now. And then Reef Keeper says you can do that and move the 6 line back there. And then if you have any corals in the smaller tank, they could go in the 40. So you could actually treat for ick using copper in the 29 or 24, right?
24 gallon. Well, I kind of don't want to use the 24 gallon
Yeah.
for treatment, because once you put copper in here, um, it's gonna ruin the tank. That means I can only use this for hospitalization.
Yeah, and
That's the
you're
reason.
still trying to sell it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you look at the bag, I am actually mimicking the sump I have here with
Right.
the 20-gallon high.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of this one where the water drops in.
Yeah.
I have the sponge, the protein skimmers right next to it. I have the media filter back here, and
Yep.
then this is the return. So that's actually what I'm doing, kind of mimicking
Right.
what I have here, but
Hey,
just bigger.
yeah.
I'm sorry,
Hey,
go ahead.
Benny, I'll bring Kevin in from K Reef Aquarium Hobby. He might have some input as well. He's an experienced
Okay,
guy. All right,
sounds
so
good.
we're gonna. Here he comes. There's Kevin.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Kevin?
Hey,
How are you
what's up?
doing?
Well, I'm tired, but okay. You know,
So
it's,
what's your work that takes you on a 24-hour work day?
well, I'm a crane operator for the heavy lifting mobile cranes. Uh,
Oh,
so
so
we had to install a bridge, and we only had uh, this time window before the traffic would open again. And
right.
they calculated 16 hours, but then it became 24 hours. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when my husband worked, he used to paint lines on the road, and they had a similar thing where, the roundabouts, the traffic circles, they could only be closed for a certain amount of time at a certain time of day, and sometimes they didn't close them at all. So they were painting in live traffic.
Yeah,
So it's interesting having a job like that really has a deadline, and everything has to go right.
yeah, but it never goes right, you know.
No,
Big
no.
concrete beams that are not fitting or too large, and they have to cut them, and yeah,
Yep.
takes
Yeah.
a lot.
So do you basically travel to job sites all over the place? And like, do you
Yeah,
drive the truck with the crane on it, or do you drive to it and it's already there when you get there?
no, no, I drive with it, and we rig it, and yeah, so
Wow.
that also takes a couple of hours. So, yeah, and actually all over Europe.
Wow.
Yeah,
So what are things like there right now with all of the virus? I just heard today that Britain had over 28,000 people that have died from it.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
we had because I live on the border between Belgium and the Netherlands. So I live in the Netherlands, but I am a Belgian guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
in Belgium it's a very small country, and there they have now 7,000 deaths, and the Netherlands, I think almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's very. We are not the borders from Belgium are closed, actually. So we are not allowed actually to go from the Netherlands into Belgium, only if it's work related.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now it's crazy how people can change. It's a small village that now is cut in two parts actually.
Mm-hmm.
And we have one supermarket here, and if you go inside there and they hear your Belgian accent, it's like, what are you doing here? You need to go back over the border.
Oh,
Sorry,
oh
I'm
no.
living here. It's crazy. It's crazy. People are getting
Yeah.
crazy. So I hope it will pass by very quickly because it's okay. We also just bought another house before it all started,
Yeah.
and
That's what we did.
yeah, and now they for the how you say that we say hypotheek for the loan,
Yeah, mortgage.
yeah, the mortgage because uh, I have my house that needs to be sold, and I have so we need to bridge it.
The bridging, yeah.
Yeah, the bridging. Now suddenly they say, oh, because of this corona, we don't want to do the bridging. You know, we should pay it ourselves. And I say, yeah, but in which book of law is
Yeah.
saying that
So
I need to do that because of corona?
yeah.
So we
Are
had to
is your
switch
house in
another.
Belgium that you bought? Or in
No,
the
in the
Netherlands? In the
also
Netherlands.
in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So and it's only
Mm.
like 5 minutes walk from where I live now, and it gives a lot of stress. My wife also, she I don't dare to ask something anymore if it's about fish tanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, we're in the middle of getting the final plans the plans finalized for the house, and we've been back and forth with the builder's engineers about how to support the tank, the new tank. And Jessica J, I see you had a question in here. Hi, by the way. Um, yes, I am upgrading to a new tank in the new house, and it's going to be 300 gallons. It will be a 72 by 48. So I think it's 314 gallons altogether. And so we're going through the whole what do we need to do in the basement underneath to support this weight so there's no micro movement of the floor, because it's the micro movement that can cause, even the slightest tilt will put pressure at that point, and you risk blowing the tank out because of course the water inside isn't still, it's moving. And anyway, so I think we finally have it figured out. They're actually going to build walls underneath it. There'll be another beam, and I'm satisfied it's going to be okay because all the sump and everything is going to be down there.
Mm.
So it's scary. I don't, you can do all the reading you want, but until you stand there and look at it, yeah. So once that's signed off, then we will start the process of meeting with the various people to start picking things, bricks and shingles and paint and cabinets and flooring and all the rest of it. We've done this before, and it's quite a process. And I think it's a 10-week build time for the tank, so I probably won't order it until September. because of course it's going to weigh 700 pounds just for the glass, and I'm going to want it delivered to the house, the new
Yeah.
house. I am not going to want to store it and then have to move it again. So it's a long-term thing. It's not going to happen quickly, but
Same with my new tank. They want to come and deliver it, everything, but yeah, as long as I don't have a key from from the new house, they don't have to deliver anything because, like you say, you know, a big tank and you need to store it and then you need to move it again.
yeah,
That
yeah. And the more often you move it, the more risk there is. So if I can get it delivered by the manufacturer right to the house,
yeah, of course.
um, then that's the best thing. So if I have to wait a little longer and hopefully keep the reef alive in the other holding tank, then that's what I do.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's it's scary. The moving part is fun. I get to move closer to family, but the whole tank fitting that all in is another thing altogether.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a lot of work how to move everything, you know.
yep.
I, I'm,
Well, and
I'm also thinking about it
you,
all the time. How do I gonna move everything?
yeah,
All the
like the option, and someone suggested it, and I actually did think about it, was to frag everything and then have someone store the frags for me. But I don't have anyone that can do that. And I know from tanks that I've had in the past where I've taken them down and maybe lost corals in a tank crash, or took them in, traded them in at the fish store because they got too big. Some stuff I wish I had kept because you can't get it anymore.
Mm,
And I mean, I've only been in it for 10 years, and there are still things I had in my early years that you can't get them anymore. Like some types of alveopora, um, some types of frog spawn that were relatively common back then, just aren't around anymore. So that's why I decided to try and move the whole thing and just, do my best to keep it alive.
yeah, can do more than our best. I have some extra tanks that I want to place then, uh, so I can move everything over. And I have the new tank. I want all new rock. I want to start from the beginning, you know. And
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
after the years, but it's not many years, but the years experience that I have now I want to use that for a brand new tank, you know, so I can
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
not make the mistakes that we all make when we started. Uh, and
yep,
so, but then I have to separate because then I'm thinking, yeah, I have to separate coral that I want there. I need to make frags from it because I don't want any rock with some pests in it, or you
mm-hmm,
know. And then I need to separate the fish, and then I'm thinking, yeah, but then I need to keep one tank because I want a tank with softies so I can put them in there. But then, oh yeah, but if I need to catch the fish afterwards to put them in the new tank, then I need to
mm-hmm.
go and take all the rock out from that tank. And so, and
It's
I don't
it's
want,
all of that. Yep.
yeah, what do you need to do? Place 10 tanks so you can separate coral, separate fish?
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit crazy, you know,
Yeah.
for
Well,
now.
and I'm lucky. I can set up another tank and have it running for the better part of a year
Yeah.
at somebody else's house. You need to find a friend who has a space that they can have a holding tank for you. And
Yeah, but I have
that's
space. I have space. Uh,
oh yeah, you've got the fish shed out back.
yeah, and I have a new one also. But oh, that was still a secret. That's a
Oh,
big, that's,
exclusive reveal.
and that's a big one. I don't, yeah, we use meters, of course. It's 25 meters long, it's 5 meters wide. It's pretty big. It was an old little farm, actually.
Oh
Sure.
yeah. Yeah. But that's why I decided to set up another tank, because I have started 7 different tanks now, variously through the years. And so the holding tank is number 8. So I've done it before, and it's up and running. It's cycled. It's got coral in it. I've moved some over. I've set up dosing. I'm going to be testing all that on Monday to see what the levels are at. And once I'm satisfied it's okay, I'm going to start doing the move. And I'm just going to do the move. And I have to keep telling myself I've done this before, I can do it again. And I have to shorten the time frame because, of course, once the tank is empty, it's not a small tank either. It has to be moved, put in storage, cleaned, put in storage, because I don't want to get rid of it yet. And that room has to have the flooring redone. We've got holes from the basement up into the closet that have to be covered up, you know, that kind of stuff. So that all has to be done before we put our house on the market.
Yeah.
So our new house won't be done till November, luckily. But with the COVID situation, it's the same here with mortgages. You know, we won't know for another couple of weeks or a month yet what impact the virus is going to, or not the virus, but the people not being able to work is going to have on deals that were already underway, whether they can get their mortgage approval or not. Because if everything was good when you signed up, then all of a sudden you're not working and you've got a house deal closing and you don't have the financial situation you had when you signed up, the bank may not give you a mortgage. So, you know, we're waiting to see what happens with all of that because that can impact the market as well. So,
yeah,
it's a crapshoot.
Many people here, and that's why because normally it we had the deadline like 2 weeks ago, so we had to add, you know, for the temporary contract, you know. And so okay, they gave us the new date, and that's in 4 days, and it's still not ready, you know. Then they made a mistake with the tax. How you say that? For taxing the house.
Oh, you know, the land transfer?
Yeah, they need to go and how much it's worth, and I want to rebuild it, so then they need to know the costs for that and if it's worth. So they made a mistake there, so we lost 3 weeks, and now a lot of people here in the Netherlands, because the rent is raising on the mortgage, so they want to switch over. Now they have like maybe 6%, and it's only 2 now, but they are scared it will go up again. So now they all go and switch. So but everyone is working from home, you know, so they are not that productive.
Working from home is a thing that you really have to learn how to do. I worked from home for 8 years, but I knew how to do it, and it's not, unless you're used to it, there is a learning curve on maintaining productivity when you're working from home. It's not easy.
No, but the people that need to check or accept the mortgage, they are also working from home, and their children are home. You know, their children are home, so I understand it takes a long time, but I cannot go to the people that sell the house every time again. Yeah, I need more time.
Yeah.
You know, tomorrow they maybe say, okay, we sell it to someone else, you know.
Yeah, and then you start all over.
And then nothing to do about it. I am still working. My wife is still working. For us, cross fingers, nothing changed at the moment. But
yeah. Well, we'll see here. They're talking about opening up slowly, starting Monday. Outdoor activities. They're allowing golf courses to get ready for the season. They're allowing garden centers. We still have to practice the physical distancing. You're not allowed in groups of any more than 5. So, you know, I think it's 5. Maybe it's 15. No, I think it's 5. So it's going to be slow, and, you know, we still have 6 months before we have to even think about worrying about it. So we'll see what happens. over the summer. So have you got any ick advice for Benny?
Well, I live with it.
You live with it, yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
have a tank, the Japonica. How you call it there in the States?
The which?
The Japonica. Um,
okay,
it's brown with yellow and white on the face.
Oh, not
Uh,
I'm
the
not familiar.
not the fox face, no.
no, it's a surgeon fish.
Oh,
A tank. Like a powder
brown with
brown,
yellow.
but not the powder brown, the one with the white in the face, but it looks quite similar.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. You guys in Europe have access to different surgeon fish than we do here. I think
And they,
that's what
they
happens.
yeah, they are very sensitive. And some friends of mine, they are so jealous because mine I already have 3 years, and they never are able to keep one alive because of ick. They are so
Yeah.
the mine is every time I put my hand in the tank and it gets stressed, it has ick. But I notice as long as I keep them healthy, feed them, he swims good, he swims it off, so it's gone after
See,
after.
what happened with me was I was buying and buying and buying fishes, and the new fishes. What's happening? After a few days, I started seeing some powder on the body itself. So when I had two, two to three, actually, yeah, 2 to 3 pairs of clown that keeps dying, and that was a lot of money. I said to myself, listen, I just gotta transfer all my fishes over to to my 24-gallon tank, which is not a quarantine tank. It's just a separate tank from the reef. Um,
But it was
I
clownfish.
Yeah, it was clownfish that constantly
Are
was
you, are you
having white stuff.
are you sure? Yeah, but are you sure it was white spot and not Brooklynella?
Brooklyn Air, I had that experience before when you mix a wild fish and tank raised fish together, right? That's how you get Brooklynella, I
Yeah, it
believe.
can also be. Yeah, it can also be poor water quality when they transport the fish or stress.
Right. Yeah, but this one is not really Brooklynella. I really believe it's an egg because um, it's just every time I put new fish, it starts having it and it dies. It starts having it, it dies. Maybe, like you said, it's stressed out. So what
Yeah.
I did is I just transfer everything to the 24 and observing it on the 24-gallon for 2 weeks. I don't see any ick anymore.
Mm.
So I figured I have that plus I have the flatworm issue. I figured, hey, you know what? Maybe I should give it a try where I put the 6-line wrasse into the 40 and see if it kills the flatworms, and at the same time see if ick is gone.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, wrasse do get ick, right? I mean, it's the same principle, correct?
Yeah, a friend of mine, the whole tank died of ick. But
I
That's
think
what I
I'm
want to
lucky.
avoid.
Yeah,
the
I
only
am lucky
thing,
to not have that experience. The only fish that gets the ick is that one tank, and my yellow tank had it once, only once, but that's like 2 years ago. But no
Right.
other fish gets infected, only him, and he stays healthy the whole. He keeps swimming and eating, and so I'm not scared he will die. But maybe one day he will nuke the whole tank. I don't know. It's possible.
and I think
Yeah.
wrasses have kind of a little more resistance because they have a thicker slime coat, most of them.
Right.
Is that right? I mean, they don't get it as easily as a tang, which has a very thin slime coat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which I was
some fish
confused
are much
because
more acceptable.
I was
Yeah, I'm not
confused
sure.
because clowns get it first before before the tank, and I noticed at one point my yellow tank had ick. And again, after I transferred everything to the 24, everything disappeared. So I was just thinking, if I wait a couple of more days or weeks, and they look healthy, maybe I can transfer it back. I don't know.
Yeah, can you wait? I mean, you're in a position where you can wait. There's no pressure to move them other than you have two tanks you have to look after, right? Like you can just
Right. I
leave
mean,
them
I
there
can
as long
wait.
as you want. Yeah, that because
Yeah.
I mean that might be worthwhile to do that and just see what happens.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll probably do that because at the same time, I'm still working at this DIY sump, trying to fabricate all these things together. So yeah, I do have time to actually just keep it separated. But for now, I guess I'm just gonna leave the 6 line rest here, um, and I guess take risks, see if it has any ick, if he gets ick or not. And if he doesn't, I'm gonna still leave him there for a while, um, until I guess I'm ready and done with the sump and with the whole new project that I got. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, you have to let us know how that goes. For sure.
It's a
For
challenge. It's
sure.
a challenge. I'm liking it actually. I mean, getting into
Yeah.
this new experience I never had before. It's actually nice to learn. To learn. I'm loving
Yep.
it. I'm loving experience because I get to ask people. I get to, you know,
Yep.
it's a learning curve.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't wanna just hop out of nowhere because I dealt with something that I can't figure out or I don't want to figure out. So
Yeah.
uh, I want to learn. I want to see if I can tackle it and then grow from there, and then share my experience to other people,
Sure.
just like
Yep.
you guys are sharing your experiences with me.
Yep,
So
that's why I don't let myself be embarrassed when I do things like boil my corals or dump rancid, stale water, stagnant water in and kill half my tank because, like, if it can help even one person avoid doing that same thing, it is worth it. And
I was talking with a friend about it, about that, about you and the stagnated water
yeah,
yesterday. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the only thing I can figure. I'm sure that's what it was. It just went toxic.
Mm.
And it was there long enough. It was probably there 7 or 8 days, no movement in the warm temperature. Anyway, so if it helps somebody, then there's no sense keeping it to yourself. I don't think there's any reason to ever be um, embarrassed or ashamed, upset, disappointed, angry,
Of
at
course.
yourself. Yes, I mean that's understandable, but in this
I had
hobby,
all
there's
those
there's
feelings.
oh
I
yeah,
had
yeah,
all
and
those feelings.
yeah, and there's no room to be ashamed to tell people things that you've done because you'd be surprised who has done things exactly the same and they just didn't want to tell anybody.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, actually,
you
the
know,
person who's helping me a lot in this hobby is, I think he's online now, is Street Reefer,
yep, I see him in
and
the chat over here.
I've been talking
Yep,
to him, FaceTime and stuff, and he's been giving me a lot of advices. I
that's
have another
awesome.
person, GTA, I think it's GTA 5.
Five,
You've
yeah,
seen him
GTA
before, yeah?
5 vids. Yep,
Yeah, yeah, and then another guy named Twins Reef from Northern Cal,
nice.
and I've been talking to them and interacting with them about the troubles I had because it's upsetting. I tell you, it's not an easy task, but
Yep, nope,
in the long run, if you overcome the fear of
yep,
tackling something new, it's you'll feel confident about the hobby or just anything else in life. If you tackle it and you put your head up and keep going, you'll see
yep,
some good rewards at the end. And
yep,
that's what I'm
definitely.
seeing. I'm seeing it from everybody, from you guys. So it's nice. It's a nice feeling.
That's cool.
It's cool that everyone, also most of the people in the hobby helps each other. That's what also a big part that I like. You can ask someone a question, they will always be happy to answer, always happy to help. Okay, everywhere you have some bad guys or girls, but that's it. But mostly, I think we have a good how you say that, attitude in the hobby.
Yeah.
Let's say it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
think so. Most of the people that that I end up interacting with are so uh, like they're so open to talking about stuff. You know,
mm,
like you would believe the conversations that get started up in comments.
yeah,
And some people come across as very sort of do this, do that, which the
mhm,
type of person I am, I don't like that very much. But if I step back and I go, okay, take aside the fact that it sounds like they're telling me what they're lecturing me and look at what they're actually saying, then I can find value in it and I can open a conversation, and usually by the end of it there's mutual respect going on. So
mhm.
I've that's something about myself that has changed because of the hobby. I'm much more willing to overlook feeling as if I'm being lectured to, because I hate that. So, but I've learned how to overcome that. And usually it's my husband that helps me with that, because if I say something, then he'll go, yeah, but he's just trying to point this out. And I'll go, yeah, you know what, you're right. It doesn't come across in writing very well sometimes as it would in
Yeah,
person.
it's like
So,
that. But sometimes it's
yeah,
difficult to uh, interpret. Difficult
interpret.
word.
Yep. Interpret.
uh, for a message.
Yeah.
So if
Yep.
someone is talking to you face to face, you see the face, you see smiling or is he looking angry, or but
Yep.
the message. i- That's why the most disasters happens on Facebook, of course. So.
I'm not a big fan of Facebook. I can't figure out how it works. So I do use it, but I'm not very good with it at all. I just basically read it. That's all I do.
Yeah, but sometimes reading, then I close it really fast. But Cindy, I want to thank you for having me because it's 4 a.m. and I
Oh,
am awake
oh
from
boy.
yesterday, 3 a.m. So I really need to go to bed now. And I'm sitting
Well,
here in the car because I didn't want to wake anyone up in the house.
well, give Sven a hug for me,
Oh, I will
and
do that.
yeah, and thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it, because I could see you're getting tired.
Yeah. But
And thanks for the advice that you have given me as well. I'm gonna keep going,
yeah,
and I'm gonna keep trying battling this ache at the same time, working on the flatworm, and also
Yeah.
continuing with my DIY sound. So I appreciate all the advice you've given me. I mean, I'm gonna be more into this hobby now, with you guys giving me amazing advices. I like it. I actually really do like it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And look at
But
him
yeah, I don't
cleaning
want
the
to let
glass.
you.
yeah,
Yeah, you know what? I bought a flipper, and I guess it's an old stock. So when I start um, cleaning my glass, I guess there's some glue at the one end, and it scrapes off the glass with that glue.
Ooh.
So yeah,
the
so that's a
police.
problem I have. But yeah, we
Such
don't want to hold
problems.
you up. Get some nice rest for tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
And yeah, and we'll see you soon.
Yep.
Yes, of course. It was perfect now that I was on my way home because then other times I see the notification that the live has been when I wake up. That it's like
Mhm.
finished for just a half hour or something, and then I think I live in the wrong country. I always miss it. So now,
I
of
still have
course, I was happy to come now.
nice. Well, thank you, Kevin. One of these days I'll do one that is worldwide in the middle of an afternoon that more people can come on when it's daytime.
Yeah. Or you can maybe some Sunday afternoon come on my evening live stream. We can talk together.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
reef keepers here, I wanted to do with someone. Maybe it can be you, with someone from the States. I had some in my head to do a live stream to
Yep.
compare how the hobby, uh, how we do it here, and how it's done with you guys in Canada or the
Yeah.
States. Saying what the differences are.
Yeah,
I'll
So
I
keep
mean,
my
I'm
eyes
down
open
for
for
it.
that. Yeah,
okay,
that'd be cool. We'll have to
I'm
watch for
down.
that. So everybody go and sub to K Reef Aquarium Hobby and watch for the live streams.
yeah,
And then we can jump in.
because of
Just
course
Awesome.
gotta add him up.
when I do my live streams, it's for us it's like 8 p.m. But then you it's just 2 in the midday, I think.
Yeah, just after lunch.
Yeah, just after lunch. So sometimes
Yeah.
some people jump in, like Blue Pipes or Calypso Reefing or who's
Yep.
more. But of course, most of the talking is done in Dutch because most people that are watching the. But if you
Mm-hmm.
jump in and you say hi, of course I will change to English.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, maybe we can talk about that one
Yeah.
when the
Yeah.
times get a little bit better and we can plan something good. That would
That
be
would be
really fun.
that would be fun.
Okay, Cindy.
All right.
And
Go to
I can't read the name anymore on the screen.
go to go to sleep.
Bye-bye, everyone.
All right. Good night.
Lighters, lighters. How do you say it? Lighters.
Later.
Lighters.
Later.
Oh my god.
Same like later.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Good night, Kevin.
Good night.
Bye. Oh, that was really nice of him. I'm going to say hi to a bunch of people that I've been seeing in the chat here. I've been keeping an eye on it. And Kevin Jones, hello. Jessica J. Hey, Hector, Calypso's Reefs is here. Mostly Reefs is here. Sean's Fish Tanks is in. And the chat is chatting away about stuff. Anonymous Aquarist, hello. And there's Chimp the Reefer.
Everybody's talking.
Yep. And Tar Heel Reefer, I said hi to him before. Chimp the Reefer. Awesome. Yeah, Chimp the Reefer says about K-Reef Aquarium Hobby. He does put out 2 videos. One is in English and the other one is in Dutch. So my mother was Dutch. I understand a fair amount of it, but I can't speak it because I get too confused in my head trying to put the grammar together, so I just stay quiet. So, Insane Reefer still here. Clowns are mean.
Yeah.
Jessica J has a pistol shrimp called Jim. There's K Reef Aquarium Hobby saying goodnight with a bunch of laughing icons, emojis. Okay.
I'm just doing
So
a quick cleaning over here before I head to bed. The little one over here is with the big mom. So I just want to clean this up, this little glue that is stuck on the glass because, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can return this or swap it out. It's a flipper, and if we look at the end here, the glue is sticking out. So
From
every
the
time
pad.
I brush it from the pad, it actually,
Yeah.
it creates that little glue. So I don't know if I can actually go and swap it out, or maybe I can create something to not have that glue all over the glass. So that's
What
what
about getting a piece of filter pad, like filter floss in a pad, and cutting it out the same size as the magnet and putting it between the magnet and the glass on the outside?
Yeah, I could do that.
Like-
So it's actually using this piece of cloth to wrap
Yeah.
it, and so that's what I could do that. So I can clean the tank without having the glue being all over the place, stuck all over the place, because
Yeah.
it's really a pain to remove the glue.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
actually, I just
Well,
do
that
this.
was.
I wrap it around.
Yep.
Then
That was always
there you go.
CJ's trick with the paper towel. That's what he always said, to use a paper towel and then you clean your glass on the outside at the same time.
Right. Yeah, I
Hey,
just
Miss.
sometimes forget to actually put the
Yeah.
paper towel. And when I start cleaning it, it's a little too late because I have the glue stuck.
The glue's there.
Stuck in the glass. But so yeah, I mean, that's what I'll do from now on. And I guess my corals are all actually going to sleep now. Normally it's 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is their bedtime. But since I joined the magnificent ReefGrrl,
Oh no.
I had to actually push it. No, it was cool. I actually like being in your show. I had to push it for another hour. Since we're all up and about anyway. And,
Oh yeah.
And that's that. So your recommendation would be just keep an eye on things over here, and when it comes to ick and flatworms, or what's your biggest advice that I should do?
If I were in your situation, I would leave everything the way it is right now and keep an eye on it. And you'll be able to tell if there's going to be a problem, and then you have to make a decision about whether to. I think it was somebody suggested, maybe it was ReefKeeper, to go and grab a tank at Petco because they're having their $1 a gallon sale and they're doing curbside pickup apparently, so that you have a tank if you need to set up a quarantine tank. And if you have them all in a 24 right now, if you get a 29, I think that's the size that he suggested, it's bigger than the 24. So if you had to, you could set up a quarantine tank with no rock, no coral, no biological filtration that you're trying to protect, and you could treat them for the ick. And then of course you're looking at the 10 weeks fallow in both tanks without fish, and you have 3 tanks going. So that's the thing about this hobby. There are options. It's just a matter of which option is going to work the best for you, or you just live with it. Try and keep them super healthy, low stress, feed them well, good water quality, and just let it die out because the fish will fight it off, Because you don't have any tangs, do you?
I actually do. I'm going to just move it over here.
That's
I have.
You got the sailfin, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the sailfin tanks.
And the yellow.
I got the sailfin, the yellow. I got a clown.
Yeah.
And I have a yellow wedgeman goby somewhere back there. So I actually have 6 fishes total.
Yeah.
And
so just keep an eye on the tangs and see how they do.
The tangs, they actually, I don't see any ick on them anymore, like that sandy looking part, sand part, salt part in their body. So I think they're okay because they're healthy. And they're feeding, they're eating all right. They're just healthy the way they look. But like you said, I think I'm gonna leave things the way they are now. And if I don't see any sign of ick at the RAS, I would say maybe 30 days or 60 days from now, I'm gonna go ahead and transfer the 5 remaining fish from the 24 to the 40.
Yeah, you'll be able to tell. And I mean, if you're gonna wait 60 days, I guess it doesn't matter if there's a possibility it could be in both. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could be on both, like you said. I mean, because I'm actually transferring the water from the 40 gallon that has ick over the 24 gallon. And I see no sign of ick in them. And if they're swimming around there, whatever water I'm transferred at the 24, they should have had ick already in their body. So
you would think so, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't see that happening at all. So I can't guarantee. It's hard to tell if it's really an ick or Brooklynella or whatever the case may be. Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna leave it the way it is, and I guess proceed on what I'm doing. Finish up the sump, the DIY sump, and then continue feeding these two tanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I
But
got some more.
another question is with torch, is there a difference between how do you know if a torch is a 24K gold or stuff like that? Like the Aussie gold, is there a difference to tell between the both of them?
I honestly
Because I
don't
have.
know when
Oh,
it comes
okay.
to names. Yeah, I know that Indo torches have longer tentacles. Aussie
Hmm.
torches have shorter tentacles. So generally, I
Right.
mean, obviously, they're all from the same ocean, just different parts of the ocean.
Yeah, because I
But
just
generally,
noticed.
Aussies are more stubby tentacles compared to the Indos have the long flowing, and that's about as much as I know because everybody gives them different names. So yeah.
I got you. Yeah, because I have this two torch, and the base of them, one is black and one is white. But when their tentacles go up, out and about, they pretty much look the same from the top. But at the bottom, one is white and one is black. So I'm not sure if there's a difference between them,
Hmm.
or maybe one is
Interesting.
old and one is new. So I just actually noticed that with my 24K Aussie Gold torch. So,
Oh,
but
interesting.
yeah, I just figured I ask and see.
Yeah, the chat might be able to tell you. Because right now, I just have two torches, the black with the green mouth and the bright green with the blue tips. Um, I used to have a gold torch, but I lost it in my last crash. And I used to have a beautiful purple with green that I also lost prior to the crash in a different crash. So, they come and go, but the ones I have right now seem to be hanging on really nicely and growing. So, we'll see. Oh, we got people in the chat. Chevy W. Ruger, hello. He says his clowns are very mean. Hello, Mr. DKH. Who else has come in here that I've missed? There's Tony Close, UK Reef. Hey, Tony. He is on a tea break at work. Nice to see you, Tony. I hope I didn't miss you and you haven't. That was at 10:15. Oh, it's 10:18, so I'm not too far behind. So hopefully you'll be able to hear us say hi back. Michael Lee is here. Powder Blue.
Actually,
Powder Blue. Talking about tangs. He
I
means
got my
powder
little
blue.
girl. Oh, sorry to cut you off, but I got my little one over here since she's falling. She's getting sleepy, so I'm gonna have
she want
to
she wants her
tuck her
daddy.
into bed. Yeah, sorry to cut it off short, but I
No,
just want to
that's
say
okay.
thanks again for everything. Thanks for the time. It's been awesome. And now the
That's
little one is just
I'm
pulling my leg.
well, I'm glad you could come in tonight and anytime is you're always welcome because it's always interesting to see what you're up to.
Yeah. Thanks again. Check you later.
All right. Yeah, good
All
night.
right. Good night.
Well, I guess it's me now. I'll talk to the chat, and if anybody wants to come in the studio, the email's at the bottom. Unless you already received an email tonight, about 30 of you did. That's how many I sent out. So if you want to come in the studio, please know that you're welcome. There's Tina's Reef stopping in to say hi. Oh, I was thinking about you this week, Tina. Can't get here soon enough. Oh, gee. Well, I hope that goes well for you, Tina. Not long now, and hopefully they don't put it back again. There's JV Gwaltney. Just call me Algae Man. Yeah, I think a lot of us can relate to that for sure. Straight Reefer, Tina, saying hi to Tina, and Chimp, and Sean. Awesome. Yeah, Kimber Reef says, good luck, Tina. Hope it goes well. Yeah, me too. You've waited long enough. That's for sure. And Kevin Jones says UV. So, Benny, I don't know if you'll watch the replay, but that is a thing with UV. If you, I guess if you see any of the free swimmers and you can stir them up and get them to go through the UV bulb, that would render them sterile. I don't know that it actually kills them, but it makes it impossible for them to reproduce, according to what I've read. Could be wrong, though. It's happened before. It'll happen again. Sure, Sean. Yeah, that'd be great. If you like. There was kind of a really loud hum when you weren't talking. And that it was hard to hear anything else but the hum. So I don't know whether it's to do with the connection or where you're sitting in the room. But by all means, if you'd like to try and come in again, please do. And anyone else who's there who wants to come in, say hi. So Monday, I think I've mentioned, I will be doing a water change on the holding tank. I'm going to test the alkalinity and the calcium, which are the two things I'm dosing at the moment, because magnesium was 1470, so I did not need to add any dosing for magnesium. The lights that I have on that tank are Luxbird, and I would describe them as extremely crappy. However, they're putting out a really good blue light. I'm going to be taking the PAR sensor over again and checking out what the PAR is at the sandbed. Now that I have my PAR map of my tank, I know exactly what all of the various levels of the rocks will require. So I'm going to do my best to set up those lights to provide that PAR. And this other tank, the 90, is actually deeper than the Red Sea Reefer XL425. The 425 is 24 inches deep, and the 90 is 25.5 inches deep. So I don't know how much difference that will make. There's also less sand in there, so the lights will be a little further away overall than what they are now. So I don't know. We'll find out what happens. There's some comments here. You can do Sumplus. Treat with hyposalinity. Yep. Yeah, that is another option with ick. The hyposalinity will not allow the parasites to live. And I can't remember which way it is. There's one way you cannot go quickly. Whether it's dropping it or increasing it. I think it's increasing it. You can drop it reasonably quickly. Like you can't go straight from 1025 down to 010, but you can drop it relatively quickly, but you have to raise it very, very slowly. Or the critters end up with osmotic shock. It's really, really bad for them. And that's why when you acclimate mollies into salt water, the slower you can go, the better. They can tolerate a lot, but some individuals and some of the hybrids really can't tolerate a quick changeover. And it's also got to do with the pH. That's what I've learned with the mollies that I've had anyway. Michael Lee has had his fish in hypo for a few months while he added more. Oh, that's interesting. But with corals, no good. No, you can't do hypo with corals for sure. There's Skookum Chuck Reefer. All right. Insane Reefers here. Let's see what Oscar's up to tonight. Well, hello there.
Hey, what's going on?
We're just chilling on a Saturday night. Speaking of chilling, I think my tea's getting cold because I've been talking so much.
I was upstairs. I was upstairs, and I said, you know what? I'll probably hang out for another 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just to see what they're up to.
Yep. How's the tank doing?
Tank is all right. It's doing good. My Trident's testing out pretty good. Now the 29 gallon, I had mentioned on the chat earlier that my Radeon Gen 2s weren't communicating with the Reef link anymore.
I saw that. And you were forced to get a Gen 5.
Yeah, I got actually 2 XR15 Gen 5s. So
wow.
They're doing good.
Yeah. Yeah, this lighting thing is ever changing.
I like the Mobius app. It's real nice.
Yeah.
They communicate super fast.
Now, did the Radeons originally have something called ReefLink?
Yes. From the Gen 1s to the Gen 4s.
Right. So ReefLink was a problem in some ways. So the Mobius is an improvement from that?
Yes, because the Mobius is a app that you have in your phone. It doesn't connect to the internet. It's more like Bluetooth compatible
right.
to where ReefLink it's with your network. So sometimes it loses connection a lot. That's what I don't like about it. The Gen 4s. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If Mobius is connected to your phone, does it, like if you're away from home, can you still control your lights?
No.
No. So it's local only.
You have to be within range with lights to be able to control them. But who wants to do that? I mean, nobody thinks about changing their intensity when they're working.
No, exactly.
That's something you would like to see.
I mean, that was to me, that's the biggest problem, because Wi-Fi can be so unreliable within a home network. I mean, I know in our house, where my fish room is, it could also be that I have so many Wi-Fi devices, but it used to be so bad, you couldn't even get a signal at the front of our house, which isn't, where I'm sitting, it's like not even 30 feet that way. And the modem thing is right beside me. So to have stuff on the home Wi-Fi network was a problem because it was so bad. So if you can just do it through Bluetooth and you're right there with your phone, and if you need to make any changes, you're beside it, and then as long as it remembers it internally, the programming, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, I was going to sell my lights anyway because I have 2 of them. And I wanted to upgrade to the Gen 5s anyway. So that was the perfect excuse to do so. So I'm going to show you right here. They were on a couple of minutes ago. The moonlights were rocking. And so I got that.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. I actually had to buy a mounting kit, which is the RMAs, I think they're called. And I had to buy these mounting kits here because the normal ones are flat. So now the new Ecotech, they have fans on the top. They don't have the fans on the bottoms anymore. So it has to be kind of raised up. Oh. And that's my little baby. It's not looking too pretty right now because it's off, but there's a little torch right there.
Yeah, I think they look different at lights out?
Yeah, they look all brown. That's what I don't like. And right here is you can't probably see it as good, but that's my little it's a gold cristata torch.
Oh yeah,
with purple tips. So it kind of looks like an Aussie, but it's the tentacles are way shorter.
Yep. Yeah, that's also called a grape torch, I think.
And here my little naked clown and a domino clown right there.
Yeah.
Your little corner. And a bunch of Zoas I got there. You probably can't see them, but that's it. It looks way better when the tank is lit.
So that tank would be what, 24 by 24?
This one is it's a little bit longer. I think it's 30. It's 30 by 1 foot of width and about like 24 height.
So you've got 2 lights over that space,
over that. Yeah,
right? And what percentage do you run them?
I'm running them at 25% right now.
25%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's really good coverage for
Oh
that
yeah.
space for
And
sure.
the thing is, now they have those lights. They kind of come with a diffuser uh, from right out the box.
Is that
So
right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
they still gonna have diffusers that kind of they magnetize, so you can stick the diffuser on with magnets.
Hmm. I
Because
have a set of those for my Kessel, and I've never used it. I don't even know why I bought them because I never really thought I needed them, but I realized that moving the Kessel over to the holding tank, because I can't mount it as high above the water in the situation I have, maybe that's the time I can use them.
yeah,
Hmm.
I've been thinking because I know Kessels they have a great shimmer. They say that they have the best shimmer in the market. So uh, I've always wanted to try to get a Kessel, but never went about doing that. I've always
Yeah.
been an Ecotech fanboy. So
Hmm. Hmm.
before that, I used to, when I started, I had a 45 gallon. I used to run 2 Coral Lives, T5 lamps. So that's why I started when I started T5s. These the shimmer on them, they don't have that much of a shimmer because it's like running T5s. If you would look at them, it's like they look like T5s the way that it lights up the tank. But
And is
it's
that part? It's
it,
partly the diffuser, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it still has a shimmer. You still see the shimmer, but it's more, you know, it's more filtered out because of the diffusion of the lights.
Right. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, the shimmer, the biggest problem I think with shimmer is if you're trying to get video, it really causes problems with the video file size. And I think YouTube has solved the problem now, but when I look back at some of my really early videos under the Kessel, uh, they're so hard to watch because they're not crisp, and it's just there's so much going on. And I always notice that if I was recording video of a piece of equipment, let's say, or an unboxing, it looked great. I go over to the tank, and all it is pixels,
yeah,
and that's to do with the shimmer because it just is too much. Um, it just there's so much going on. The files are so big to capture all of that stuff going on. It can't render properly. I'm probably not explaining this very well, but it just seems like it's too hard for that to translate to good quality video. So shimmer, depending on what you're doing with it, you if you can cut it down, if you're making videos, it helps, I think.
well, T5s are the best to do videos. That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That I would say that's true. I had them for a while, and I just never cared for the look of them. My corals did respond to them, but I didn't ever really like the sort of flat greenish white look
yeah.
that my tank had from that.
You would maybe
And
have
that
to
was,
use the blue plus
yeah,
and like yeah,
that was with superactinic. The bulbs that I had were superactinic and with the Kessel. So it's a preference thing.
I'm a shimmer guy. I like the shimmer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
It just
true.
reminds me of the ocean when you go dive and you see the rays of the light just hitting that sand bed, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, Mermaid's Reef said she hasn't seen the new G5s, but Kessel's the only light she can't see the disco color effect. She loved her Kessel. Will be getting one for the new tank next week. Nice.
G5s are good, but they're a little expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a that was a almost $8,000 weekend thing for me. So
Well, imagine this. I'm looking at 6 Orphec Atlantic V5s. So that's unless I can get a price break on them, that's $6,000
Oh,
in lighting for the new tank. So somebody over
you,
here is saving her pennies.
well, you're gonna
Or
have to make some more YouTube videos then.
a lot
I,
more.
I I was watching.
I'm
Yeah, I was watching the one you made the other day about breaking down your tank and all that. And I was like,
oh,
oh, Cindy.
I know. I know. It just it's a shame because it's May 29th is the third anniversary of the start of the cycle, and by then it won't exist anymore. It'll be empty. So that's, it's just the way it is. And
It,
like I said before, I did it before, I can do it again. I have to keep telling myself that.
and then after that, or you're moving everything back to the new tank, right? So it's kind of
Um,
two transfers that you're
no,
doing. No?
I've got the 90 set up, but it has no sump. I have two canisters running it, a Fluval 406 and a Sun something 3 E30. I'm going to be doing a video on it, and the video is going to be called Will I Be Sorry? So anyway, there are two canisters. Because I can't drill this tank.
It's tempered. Is it
The
tempered?
back is, if you can believe it.
I almost made the mistake of doing
So
that on a 90 gallon that I used to have too.
yeah,
And it was
it's
a
a
90.
90.
Look at that. It
Yeah,
was it a, I think mine was an Aqueon 90 when I bought it.
yeah. I
That's
don't know what the brand of this one is, and also get this, we didn't know this when we bought the tank because it was sold to us as something that was a couple of years old but didn't work out for goldfish for this guy's daughter. And we've owned this tank for 10 years, and it was built in 2000. So it's a 20-year-old tank.
wow.
But it's Starfire glass. It's the ultra clear low iron. And the seams are all very, very good. It's very well put together. It's got the plastic trim at the top and the bottom. It's got the center brace. So I'm not worried about it, but we're unable to drill it. So no sump, surface skimmer, two canisters, some power heads. This week we're going to be making lids for the two halves because I don't want to move any of my fish until I have lids for it. And yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, but I just have to do it.
I used to not care about lids. I didn't care. I never had any carpet surfers since I've been reefing. So sorry, I keep moving around. It's just I'm
Yeah.
trying to find my comfort zone here.
Oh no, it's okay. I'm trying to watch the chat too. About two sides. Yeah, somebody's talking about getting tanks. I didn't say hi to somebody. Who was it now? Wicked Ninjas 420. Hello. I think you had a question. It looks like you got it answered. That's pretty awesome. What do you test? So as you shelter in place, what do you test? That's a really good question. How about you, Oscar? What test? You've got your Trident.
Oh yeah, that's doing great. I just, not that I hate doing manual tests. I do them once a week anyway. But having the luxury of just opening your app and looking at your results, it's just something that's so easy and so rewarding. Um, I normally test alkalinity, which is the most important for me. I can go by testing nitrates maybe once every 2 weeks or once a week, but the most important I try to test every week. It's alkalinity.
Yeah. Yeah, alkalinity is one of those things that is really subject to fluctuation when stuff's going on in the tank. I mean, if you're on autopilot and everything is just growing, you can keep up with it usually. But if you start doing things like fragging, or if you add a whole bunch of new coral that's not healed yet, let's say you get a whole bunch of frags from a friend and you bring them to your tank, they have to heal, they
Yeah.
use more alkalinity. When stuff like that is going on, I can totally see the appeal of being able to just view, from one test to the next, what's happening with the alkalinity, because you'll be able to spot a trend right away.
You'd be surprised. My tank is dropping a point every day. So, well, 1 to 2 points every day, and that's the downstairs tank. And I only have 3 acros in there, and three little, 3 zoanthids. That's about it, and it's dropping 2 points every day. So what I've been doing is I've been dosing a little bit of alkalinity. I've been dosing 1 ounce of alkalinity every day, uh, and it's after 3 o'clock. That's when it drops, because it tells you the points where it's, well, not the points, but if you tested this hour, it'll tell you, well, this hour was 8.2, and then you dose, and then this hour was 8.4, and then 6 hours later it's going to be 8.4, and it'll go by that. So that's how I
So,
know.
so are you obsessed with that now then?
I think
You
so.
can't.
I think so. Even though I try not to chase the numbers, I still want to keep my tank stable, because I want those acros to start doing good from the beginning. Because I
Yeah.
already got my calcium media there, so I'm trying to get my carbon doser, which is that's something that's not going to happen right now. Probably in the next couple of weeks, and then after that, I want to see if I could get my CO2 tank just to get all that hooked up, and then try to get a Versa. I'm trying to get a Versa to
Yeah.
dose. So
Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to aim for. But one thing I bought this week was a CO2 regulator.
did you get which one did you get? The
I
Milwaukee
got
or did you carbon doser?
I got the American Pinpoint, the American Marine.
Is it just a regular regulator, or is it electronic?
I have no idea. I haven't got a clue.
Because you have the
It's
electronic ones, which is like the carbon doser
Yep.
from I think it's AmericanPlants.com or something like that.
It's
I don't
got
know.
a needle, and it's got a little glass section for the bubble counter. It's
Okay,
glass. It's heavy. It's got gauges on it.
okay,
Like I don't know what I'm doing, right? So all I know is you need a CO2 regulator. So when I was buying some tubing for the doser, I had to buy something else to get free shipping. So I thought, okay, looking down the road, I've already got the calcium reactor. I need a regulator. I'm going to buy a regulator. So I found this one and added it to my order, and I got free shipping, and now I have a regulator. So we'll see what happens when I set it up.
yeah.
But
When you
I checked the reviews, and the reviews were good.
yeah,
So we'll see what happens.
the only advantage with that is, I mean, the only disadvantage I'd say, it's that with the electric one, you could actually um, hook up your pH with the reactor, and if
Hmm.
you have an apex or something, you could set it to where you could turn it off at 6.4 and turn it back on at 6.7,
But
and then
remember,
that'll control your pH.
I am the apex.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a Neptune person. I have
Well,
researched them.
you
I've
could
seen
also
so many fails. I'm not ready to trust them.
you could also do like the pinpoint if you were to go that route. You could
Yeah,
use
I do
the
have a.
pinpoint does the same thing.
Yeah, I have a pinpoint. That's what I use in my tank right now. The pH. The pinpoint pH.
But that when you can't do it, you'll have to do it manually and control
Yeah.
your bubble count. Okay,
Yeah.
one bubble per second, two bubbles per
Yeah.
second,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and
I'm good
so.
at that. I could do that.
Well, go right ahead then. By
Yeah.
all means,
Right.
all respect to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. No, I prefer to be hands-on because you can't believe the number of things that you notice when you're right in there doing stuff in the tank. Oh, my dog just came downstairs. My husband's calling her. Sorry. If you hear a, it's
I
not me,
already
it's the
did.
dog. Yeah, at this point, I'm hands-on now. Put me in front of a 300 with 200 gallons worth of water in the sump. Um, I might change my mind, I admit, because it's a whole different scale of stuff that can go wrong,
Oh yeah.
and it might be a different ball game at that point. But we'll see. Well, I mean, it's not like I have to leave it for 8 hours a day to go to work. So I have the time, and I can stay hands-on with it. So, I mean, I understand automation. I totally get how it helps. But I don't have a high trust level yet for the stuff that's available, because the way it has to work, and we were talking earlier about Wi-Fi and the network. If
Yeah.
it has to work over a Wi-Fi network, or if it's in the cloud and the app crashes, you're helpless. So I think it has a ways to go yet before I will feel like I can trust it enough.
Yeah. So far, and I've tested it out. The Apex, if it does lose network connection, there's this function that you go and enable. It's called a heartbeat. It'll notify you if your Apex went offline. So
Yeah.
it'll tell you something went wrong, or either your lights went out or something happened. So
Yeah. 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 Hello, Blue Carbon Reefing. How's it going, John? He says, good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's safe and healthy. So far, so good. Are you still able to work, Oscar?
I'm
In the
working.
job you have? Yeah.
I'm still working. I'm not working as much as I used to. I'm only working 45 to 50 hours a week, the most. So
Oh boy.
yeah,
What do you do? What do you work at?
I'm a truck driver for a tire company.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things that I mean, you always need that. My brother-in-law works for an oil change chain, and it's the same thing for them. They're essential service because people still need to drive their cars, so they
Yeah.
still need oil changes.
I tell you what, we've had more orders as far as tires than you would believe. Like, how are people buying tires with all this stuff going on?
I guess when you need them, you need them.
So yeah. So that's what I do. I test, alkalinity once a week,
Hmm.
probably sometimes twice a week. It all depends on how I feel.
Yeah. With me, it depends on what I'm doing and what's happening in the tank. And there probably was about a 4 month stretch where I didn't have to change anything. And my testing everything was stable, nothing was going on. And then all of a sudden, something changed and everything started to grow. And then I couldn't keep up with the alkalinity. And then everything started to grow so big it needed fragging. So I had to bump the alkalinity even more in anticipation of healing. And it's been a constant battle to keep it above 8. It's still
Oh,
hard to keep it above 8. It was 7.8 the last time I tested it. I think it was, what's today? Saturday? Tuesday was the last time I tested it. It was 7.8. 7.8? Yeah. So, and
so
the part of the
how many
problem is
points? I'm sorry. How many points
no,
is it dropping daily?
I don't know because I don't test daily.
I think that's the
So
good thing to do. Check your.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to start doing that. Find the time after breakfast every morning. Test my alkalinity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every
but I
day at the
haven't
same
been.
time.
Yeah, but at one point it was 8.8, and then 2 days later it was 8.2, and the time before the 8.8 it was 8 point. No, it was 7.8. So it went from 7.8. 3 days later it was 8.8. 3 days later it was 8.2. So I think the 8.8 was an anomaly. I think it was wrong. I did the test wrong. So, and now it's 7.8 again. So I don't know. And I don't want to overreact, because if I start adding too much of the stuff and there's something going on with my reagents, and I even checked it with the Salifert test and it checked out, like it wasn't off. Um, but if there's something going on, or it's user error, where the problem is between the vial and the chair, like that, I don't want to overreact, because I've done that in the past. and it just turns into a huge seesaw.
I've learned not to overreact. First thing, I used to do it. If I would see my DKH was went down 5 points, I would, oh God, I got to bring it back up.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Yeah.
thing is, you
Yeah.
go up 5 points and you kill stuff. And a lot of people, and even recommendations on the BRS calculator, it tells you you could go up to 1 DKH, but don't go more than 1 DKH. And I've even gone up 5 points and I've killed stuff to where it RTN, you know. And I say, you know what, from now on, if I see my points are off, I'll just, if I'm going to dose, I'll dose. If I'm going to dose to 5 points, I'll do it in a matter of hours, 1 mil every hour. So go up slowly.
Yeah. Oh, when I think of slowly, I think of days. So that's the alkalinity was 5.1 at the holding tank 2 weeks ago. And when I tested it the last time I was there, it was 6.8. That was last Friday. So I had my daughter dosing reef carbonate a little, like 20 mils a day. And the idea was to just bring it up slowly. So it went from 5.1 to 6.8 in like just over, in about 8 days, I think. And that's okay. That to me is sort of the kind of rise that I prefer. There's not much in there. It's not going to hurt anything. And so when I went and it was 6.8, that's when I set up the dosing. And by the time I primed the tubes and got everything set up, I'm sure it was up over 7 by the time I left there. But I don't know because I didn't test. So we'll see what it is when I go back on Monday. And make sure that it's continuing to climb at a slow rate. I'd much prefer to keep it slow.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
AZ Reefer. Look at this. Hey, AZ Reefer. You know what? I apologize to the chat. I did see what was going on. I couldn't figure out what this guy was talking about. And I saw a couple things I didn't like. So I kicked him out. So thank you, AZ Reefer, for the super chat for smacking the troll.
Have to keep it nice in here.
I know, and it's... Oh my goodness. They're talking about... Camaro Kid said local car dealers in his area are letting you finance repairs. Wow. Yeah, things must be bad. ATF in the house. Nice to see you. Taking a breather and checking in. How is everyone? Doing well.
I'm doing well as well. I got a little pink lemonade I bought last week.
Oh.
I've always wanted one of those, and so far it's doing good. It's been a week, so no signs of stress, a lot of polyp extension.
Yep. Jessica J says, what did you do before you retired, if you don't mind me asking? And K14OFH, psychologist, soothing tone. Oh, thank you. I did a lot of things in my life. I'm actually trained as a cartographer. Back in the day when it was done using large, like massive scale photography of sheets of mylar put together and printed on printing presses. That's the style of cartography that I was trained in. And spent about 10 years in international tax working for PwC, and then I retired from a job as a private investigator working on unclaimed properties. And yeah, I published a magazine for people who like to knit, because that was another business that I had for about 10 years. And in Canada, if you like to knit, there was no national publication that would tell you the kinds of things you could buy for your hobby. Kind of like reefing. There's no national reefing magazine in Canada that says, oh, look at this great product, but guess what? You can't buy it in Canada. You have to go to the States. So that was kind of our focus when we started up the knitting magazine. So I've done a bunch of different things in my life. And yeah, I don't know. Amateur psychologist, maybe. Student of human nature.
Glass is a little foggy here, so I got to clean them out a little bit.
So what do you what's your next equipment purchase going to be then, Oscar? What do you think?
I think it's going to be the carbon doser. And then after that, it's going to be the Versa. Trying to get that calcium reactor running.
Yeah, the Versa is the reason for it is that it's a continuous duty pump, right?
Yeah.
And so by doing that, if I understand it correctly from what I've read, that increases the volume that you can put through in a 24-hour period compared with some other types of, say, peristaltic. It's a peristaltic pump, right?
Yeah.
But it's not an on-off. It's like basically
it just keeps on going. Well,
keeps on going.
That one you could use it for dosing.
Yeah.
And you could run it continuously. So
Yeah.
but there's a lot of they come two different ways. You could buy them separately, or you could buy them in a pack of 4. It already comes with like a bar to where all 4 of them attach, and that's powering all 4 of them. It comes with a power strip to where it powers all 4 Versas. But you could buy them separately. They're like $150 a piece, which is compared to almost $300 for the Comore. I think it's a pretty good deal, and it is Mobius compatible, so it connects directly with the Mobius.
Okay, so that's the main difference, because I know, for example, I have the Comore F4. I bought it used. It's working great. I have the Jabo DP4. It also works great, but the amount of liquid it can push through in a 24-hour period is limited. So the Versa solves that problem and allows you to put more volume through it, if I understand the reasons for that. Okay. And
it doesn't clog up.
Yeah.
To where if you would have used like a MaxiJet pump with the needle valve, it'll clog up. You have to be cleaning it frequently. So not to say don't clean it. Not to say don't clean the tips of the tubing. You still have to check it out every now and then. But I think it's less. It won't have that much of a restriction as far as coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that strikes me as a huge weakness in a lot of these things, is the fact that the ends of those tubes clog. Like, talk about a point of failure, like you'd think there'd be a way to stop that, but I guess just the nature of the beast, the chemical that goes through it.
The calcium.
Just checking out the 4 pumps, 1 plug. Yep. That's appealing. Little Ocean, Ontario, Canada. Oh, everybody's saying where they're from. Sean's Fish Tank says his family is in Shediac. I know where that is. I've been there. And I'm in Southern Ontario. His uncle owned the Splish Splash Water Park in Shediac. Cool. That's on the east coast of Canada. That's our favorite trip. We've been to the East Coast 3 times, twice driving, and once we flew. Well, we drove. We rented a car when we got there. But the other 2 times we drove there and back, and it's beautiful there. It's a wonderful place to visit. Highly recommend it.
So, those are my plans.
So when you get the carbon doser, then after that will be the Versa, and then you'll have all the pieces you need.
Well, I still need one more piece, which is the PM1 for my Apex. That's going to connect my secondary pH probe.
Right. So another component there to sort of complete the circle of information.
Yeah.
That will run it, right?
Just to keep. That's what's going to monitor the pH in the calcium reactor, and that's what's going to shut it off and on. That'll shut on and off the carbon doser, depending on the pH that's running.
Right. And so the alternative, if you don't have the ability to turn it off and on in response to the pH changing. What's the alternative to that? You just let it run, or you change the settings so that the pH doesn't have to shut off? You know what I mean? Like if you didn't,
if you don't have a controller, you might as well just get a regular regulator. That's the whole point of having the electrical carbon doser, is to
right.
control that pH. So
Gotcha. Okay, so since I got a regulator,
you
that's
don't,
how I would
yeah.
accomplish that. Okay. All right. See, I know nothing. I know very little. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it all
Now
out.
your regulator, you have to rely on the bubble count.
Yes.
So you'll have to control that bubble count and the effluent coming out. So
Right.
it all depends on that bubble count, on how much media you're going to be melting.
Mm-hmm. Do you know whether it's a good idea to mix coarse media and fine media together in the same chamber?
I would just go with if you have extra cores, just do extra cores. It'll have more flow through the reactor.
Right.
Or if you have just the regular cores, just do that.
But don't mix them together.
I don't know. To be honest,
I can't find an answer to that.
there's not a right and wrong answer for that. If you have two chambers and that's all you have, I'd say put the finer course at the second chamber and put the bigger course in the first chamber. That's how I would go about doing it.
Well, I only have one, but maybe that's a good reason to get two. The reason I'm asking is I did manage to get some reborn. I got one 8 kilogram bag of, no, is it 8 kilograms? 8 pound bag of the coarse. I was told I was going to be getting 3 bags, and I got sent 1 coarse and 2 of the little reborn.
So that would be in the secondary chamber if you had one. That's the one that's going to help the that lower pH.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not pH, the effluent coming out
Yeah.
at a lower.
Yeah, I have more reading to do. It's not one of those things I've really started investigating thoroughly because I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
My brain has no space for that right now.
I'm gonna show you here because I got some here. I got the RAM because we can't get reborn. They're out of stock of that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, apparently it's not, and that's why I was so happy I got some, but it's not going to be available. Hey, useless reefer. Nice to see you. And K14OFH, hello. I'm not sure I said hello to you, but I did put a comment up from you.
So this is what I got. I got the extra course,
yeah.
which is this one.
Yep.
And I just got the regular, just a course, which is a little bit thinner.
Oh, okay.
Because that was my plan, to put this one in the secondary chamber.
Yeah.
But then I saw that they sell a even thinner.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna keep this one, and I'm gonna use like the extra course, and then I'm buy the thinner media, and then once I start running out of this one, I'll just top it off with this one.
Yeah, the reborn is about the size of the course, not the extra course, but the course, and the little reborn is really small. So
yeah,
I can imagine how it would pack pretty well in a reactor. You'd have to be careful that you still could get the flow through it because it's really small pieces. And that's why I wondered about mixing the two together in the same chamber, but I don't know if that's a good idea, and I can't find an answer. Okay.
I think eventually it would just run down to the bottom of the chamber anyway, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or it'll turn into mush or something. I don't know.
It's the mush that becomes the problem, because then it's like clay. The water can't really get through it properly. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot I don't yet understand about how it all hooks together, but I figure if I buy the parts, then I know there's some good videos to watch. I know Murphy's Aquatics has a good video on calcium reactor setup, so
There's a
When my
couple. There's a couple there that are out there that explain.
Yeah.
Rico's Aquarium. He has a video on his. He has a little series of 3 videos about calcium reactors. Uh, it's pretty good. He explains on how to connect it, how to run the peristaltic pump, and all that. He explains about the carbon doser and all that stuff. Uh,
mm,
I guess there should be other videos as far as running the regulator that you have.
yep.
Uh, this guy, LA Fish guys, they also have one with Scott Leaf has a little series there as well about calcium reactors. I don't know if you ever seen them, LA
No, I'll
Fish
have to look
guys.
that up. I think LA Fish guys, I think I've watched a couple of their videos. I'm so far behind. I really have to sit down one day and just, you know, um, turn everything off except my iPad and just start watching people's videos because I feel so bad. I'm so far behind. It just, yeah.
I just feel so confident on things. I know things are going to go great once I start getting it together. It's going to be my first time running a calcium reactor as well. Reason why I've never done it before is I've always been intimidated by them.
hmm
Uh, it was just intimidating for me. I'm like, I don't know what
Yeah,
I'm
me
doing.
too. Me too.
But
Well, what I didn't like was the idea of a compressed gas cylinder in my cabinet under 100 gallons of water. And with the setup I'm going to have, it'll be in the sump is going to be in the basement. So it's all going to be open. Everything is going to be at bench height so that I'm not crawling around on the floor trying to do stuff.
mhm.
And I feel much more confident at being able to manage equipment like that. You know, not reaching in to do something and bumping something else and causing a problem and having stuff fall over and yeah, no more of that.
I say now's the time to think everything you want to do, plan out your rock, plan out everything. Okay.
Yep,
You always learn from the last tank. I wish I would have known all this
yep,
when I started, but as you go, you start learning different things. It's like,
yep. It's
Benny was saying, thanks a lot for helping me, this and that, I, I'm learning. So, but, we all go through this. I didn't know
mm-hmm.
Jack when I started. So,
Yep, me too.
and you learn
Hey,
every,
listen, my tank, the very first tank I got was a 30 long with a hang on back skimmer, and there was a little square section that was actually a bubble trap. I thought that was a sump, if you can believe it. But I was given this tank. It was really badly neglected. There's a tiny clownfish, and the whole thing was covered in a beautiful purple blanket. Like everything was covered in this purple blanket of stuff. And I thought it was really pretty, but it was cyano. It was an eighth of an inch thick in some places.
wow.
The salinity was 1.038 when I finally had it tested. And how I got into corals was I was trying to find something for this poor little clown to host because he was vicious. I called him Sid Vicious. He would jump at my face every time I even leaned over the tank to look in. And it just started from there. And yeah, it's a learning curve. And we all have to go through it because you can't learn everything at once. It's overwhelming. If you tried to learn everything before you started, you would never start because you can't learn everything. So you just got to jump in.
And a lot of videos. I learned it with videos because uh, normally you go your LFS, and some might have the good intention to show you,
hmm
but
hmm
they might not have the knowledge, and they might be giving you wrong
Yeah,
information.
that happened to me. Yeah, definitely. But, eventually you get there and you never know everything. And I don't know if I want to be at the point where nothing would surprise me anymore because that's a huge part of it.
Yeah,
The absolute
learning.
wonder that you see in your tank when you see something new and different. So yeah, it's one of the things that keeps us coming back, I think.
And the harder it gets, or the harder it is, the better, I'd say. because
I have to say,
it keeps it interesting, even though it's
yep,
scary.
yep,
Like,
yep.
oh my God, I don't even know how I'm doing this, but that's the fun of it, even
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
when it's more difficult, it's when, you know, it's more fun.
Yep. Or when you wake up in the middle of the night and you go, "Oh my God, I did the opposite of what I should have done." Because it's all percolating in your brain, and all of a
And it's
sudden you realize,
and it's happened to me in the past. I'm like, oh God, I think I dosed too much.
yeah, or you do the math and you're sure it's right and it's all written down, but somehow you've increased it by a factor of 10. It just,
See,
yeah.
what happened to me is I was adjusting my dosing pumps, which they work for timers here in the 29 gallon. I don't have them in the Apex, and I was trying to up the dose by 1 minute each day, and what I did is I upped it 5 minutes, so it just kept on going straight. When I checked my DKH, it was almost at 12. I'm like, oh God, from 8.5 that it was.
Yep.
And I think I killed some stuff. That's when I lost my strawberry shortcake and my red dragon.
Yeah. Yeah, it can happen so easily. Well, when I set up the Camor, okay, we went to a coral show. It was in Toronto. It was held at a Legion, which was fun. Uh, the only food available on site was beer and pizza pockets in the room downstairs. And my daughter entered a raffle. At that time, my daughter and her fiance at the time went with us just to go for the day because it's about a 2 hour drive. So we just basically went for a day out. So she entered a raffle and she won some dosing chemicals. There was calcium, magnesium, and KH. They were in unmarked bags, all together in another bag. So she gave them to me. I went, "Oh, this is great." So I stashed them away. And there were instructions with them, but no identification as to what the actual product is. So, of course,
Okay.
you can imagine I'm reluctant to use it because I'm thinking, is this something somebody cooked up in their basement or like what is it? So I got them out and I looked at them and I Googled a couple of the names and it turns out it's Brightwell. It's Brightwell Calcion, um, uh, carbonate pH something to pH 8.3, which is the KH, and Magnesium. So I thought, okay, this is Brightwell. It's good quality stuff. And so that's what I'm using. So I mixed up the chemicals according to what the directions said for a stock solution. And I have these nice little dosing bottles. It's all neat and tidy. And so I did the test, and then I went to calculate what the dosage had to be, and I cut it in half because I thought if I did the math wrong or if I didn't understand, the 2.5 grams per 1 liter or for 1 gallon of water, I have 90 gallons of water, so I need like whatever it was. I just was afraid that I miscalculated it, and so I cut it in half. And so that's why I'm interested in going back on Monday and seeing what has actually happened with it, because I'll be able to tell if it hasn't increased, because it should go up by 0.36 per day using this solution. So if it has gone up by 0.18 per day, then I figured it out right and I can increase the dose, right? So I just don't take chances anymore with that. In the old days, I'd be looking at it, I'd be whizzing through the math, and I go, okay, that's it.
That's it.
But it's different. It's different when the tank is in your house. When it's
Yeah.
45 minutes away at somebody else's house, and the app is on my phone, and I have to be on their home network to do anything with the doser. It's not even like they can do anything except shut it off because there's no way to change things manually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is going to be part of the challenge of keeping this reef because there's even potential we may have to move there. If we sell our house before our new house is ready, we may be living there for a little while because they have a big house and lots of space. And yeah, so it's going to be quite the summer around here.
Yeah, let's see what happens with all this. I just can't wait for all this to go back, not to normal, but better than what it was.
Yeah. Good night, Sean. Nice to see you. ATF in the house. What? No one doses by hand or by eyeing their tank? LOL.
Well, I am right now. The downstairs tank, I'm dosing by hand because I don't have dosing pumps.
Yep.
Right now.
I used to dose by hand all the time, but I always test it. I can't dose blindly. Can't do it anymore. But I'll tell you, there's a YouTube channel. I haven't looked recently to see if he's still there, but it's called Reefer Josh. And this is a young guy, I'm thinking in his late teens, who started a reef tank. And the videos he made are really entertaining in a way that I don't think he intended them to be. So if anybody's looking to just watch a series of misadventures in reefing, check out Reefer Josh. I remember one particular video, he was mixing salt water to do a water change. He didn't have a refractometer or any way to check the salinity. He was eyeballing it. He wasn't even measuring it. He just got a bucket of water and he was just dumping salt in it. And everybody in the comments is going, you need a refractometer, dude. Like, or something to. So anyway, Reefer Josh, check it out. And I mean, I'm not laughing at him. Don't get me wrong. He was starting out. He had all the best intentions. And the videos are, I don't know, maybe I'm strange, but I found them actually fun to watch. And he was very, very sincere and earnest and serious about what he was doing. So yeah, one of those things, but I don't think he's made a video in like 2 years, so I don't know whatever happened to him, unless he's done something recent.
I used to watch this guy it was actually freshwater. This guy named Wayne's Fish World. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
I've seen that. I'm sure I've seen that.
He was funny. He was funny. That's what I liked about him. He was funny. And talking about mixing salt without checking it, I actually mix my salt. I do test it before I put it in the tank, but I already know the measurements. I use 2 cups and a quarter of my Brightwell salt for 5 gallons, and it gives me exactly 0.026, 35 ppt. So,
well, I'm looking forward to having a 100-gallon mixing vessel with 100 gallons of water in it, and all I got to do is take 2 of my 4 bags of Fritz out of the blue box and dump it in there. None of this 1/2 cup at a time stuff.
Yeah.
Because each of those bags is supposed to make 50 gallons.
50 gallons. At 0.25?
I think it's 0.25. That's what I use. That's what my tanks run at. Yeah.
ATO is turning on.
Yeah. Reef Keeper says he saw that video. I leave comments frequently. Yeah, Reefer Josh. I mean, Phil, you know what I mean? I'm not being mean. I'm just saying he was fun to watch, and not because he was trying to be fun to. I mean, his brother or somebody was videoing him, and he would say, "Okay, move over there." Like, go stand here. Or, no, the camera needs to be higher. Like, it was just, it was a lot of fun. Hey, Brian's Aquariums. Wow, we're getting a couple people in late.
I said I was going to hang out for 20 minutes. It's already been, what,
Yeah.
35, 40 minutes?
That's my fault. I'm chatty.
Oh, it's all good. I can't wait. I was actually in my neighbor's house, social distancing, but we were having a couple of drinks and, talking and whatever. And I was in the chat at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I couldn't join at the moment.
Yep. I've done that in restaurants back in the day, and I'm trying to think, it might have been CJ. He always used to have these supper time live streams. And usually it was whatever night of the week it was, we were always out for dinner somewhere. And I'd be sitting there with my phone and everybody's talking and I'm on my phone in the chat on his live stream. I couldn't hear it because, of course, I'm with people and I didn't have earbuds. I can't wear earbuds because they fall out of my ears. And yeah, it was, yeah, I used to do that all the time, so I can relate.
I look forward to these Saturdays now, and I just like to watch people's tanks and see what people are up to and what their plans are and what they're running, and it just gives me ideas to see what I could accomplish next.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and it's Saturday night too, and with this whole lockdown, and I sometimes feel like people, um, it's almost it almost reaches the point where people start feeling depressed. You know, they stop doing the things they enjoy doing. They don't want to participate with other people. Like it's reaching the point now where that whole mental health thing is starting to kick in because people aren't getting out and living a normal life. And you know, so I just if I reach a point in a day where I just want to sit somewhere and not do anything, I usually try and get up and go pack a box or something like that because it's so easy to fall into that sort of inertia where you just don't even want to do anything. And when you have a reef tank, that's not really an option.
Yeah. I'm always busy here messing around with the tank whenever I get home or whatever. Tomorrow for me is a water change day, so
Yeah.
that's
Well,
something I have planned.
I have a toadstool I still have to frag. Haven't done it yet, but I'm still waiting for my LFS to be at the point where they're going to start getting in new stock because, of course, they are still selling stuff, but not at the volume that they need to make space in their tank for new stuff. So I've been kind of putting it off a little bit, but it's in Mollywood, so everything's so badly overgrown in there that the toadstool's starting to lean on the clove polyps and the gorgonian is starting to lean on the toadstool, and the toadstool's winning because it doesn't show any signs of any problems, and the stuff that it's touching or that is touching it is dying, and so I have to get in there, so that might be tomorrow.
Yeah, and they grow pretty big. They do
Yep,
grow.
they do.
That's
Definitely.
why
Hey!
that's why I don't have any. Yeah.
Here we go. Somebody else with dinos. Hey, Aaron's Aquarium. Wow. We're up that late. Or you're up that early. You're in the UK. Cool.
Well, my advice would be
Dinos. Day 9 of Dr. Tim's. I can still see faint dinos.
my advice would be run a UV sterilizer if you have one,
Yeah.
and pull as much as of it out as you can. And what I do, my sister-in-law got it, and I eradicated them in a matter of a couple of days. I got her a UV sterilizer, and I started sucking the dinos up with the python into the sock in the sump.
Yeah.
So everything was trapping all the dinos that it had.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just started clearing out.
Because dinos have a mass. They're not dissolved into the water column. They have a mass. So if you can filter them out and remove them, that helps. Unlike some other toxins that can't be filtered out, they have to be absorbed or adsorbed by carbon or whatever. So dinos you can manually remove that way, and that's what Fish of Hex advocates.
And increase your nutrients. It's another thing. Try to get your nitrates up a little bit and phosphates.
But apparently, if your nutrients aren't low, there is another type of dino that thrives on high nutrients. I think that's what I had, because I've never had a low nutrient system ever, and I did have dinos at one point, and I spent 3 months doing exactly what you said with a little gravel vac and a little tiny bag on it, and I was getting that stuff off the rocks, going over to the sink, rinsing the bag in hot water, going back. I spent probably a couple of hours a night for 3 months, and I finally got rid of them all.
Wow.
But I didn't know what I was doing. At that time, I just saw this brown, snotty stuff everywhere, and I just started removing it. So it worked eventually.
And they are not attractive at all. I do not like them. I never had any, thank God. But they say you usually get them when you start with dry rock and dry sand and all of that. Hey, my downstairs tank is dry rock and dry sand. And so far.
Well, I haven't had them since the 29 cube, and that was only a one-time thing, and once they went away, I never have had them again. I've never even had cyano in my big tank. Drama D says add hydrogen peroxide 30 minutes after lights out every night helps, as well as using a UV and turning the skimmer off. So skimmer off would be to increase the nutrients, I'm assuming. Oh, look at this. Holla at your Reef Boy. Pizza on me. Thanks, Holla at your Reef Boy. That's awesome. You know, Billy Pipes had a thing on Insta where he showed us the pizza that you had sent to him in New Jersey. And I know you're not in New Jersey. You're in Texas, if I'm thinking of the right place. Or California. I can't remember now. But thank you. Very much appreciated. We will do that. Or maybe we'll use it to pay for next month's live streams. That would be good. We'll keep her going. Brian's aquarium said his nutrients were low, 5 parts per million of nitrate and 0.03 phosphate, now dosing nitrate and phosphate. Yeah, so if you have the type of dinos that thrive when there's low nutrients, then dosing nutrients and also skimmer off would help. Yeah, see, I'm learning all of this. I take it all in. Just in case it ever happens. Yeah, he's in Houston. Holla at your Reef Boy is in Houston. Those bacteria. Dallas. Brian's Aquariums is in Dallas. Okay, Drama D, 1 mil per 10 gallons. That's the hydrogen peroxide. He recently battled dinos 3 separate times. Beat it using Dr. Tim's UV, hydrogen peroxide, and increased nutrients. Yeah, Reef Keeper is the world-class expert on fighting dinos. He had that in his first year of his Reefer XL 525, and look at it now. His world-class expertise at fighting dinos has given him a world-class, gorgeous reef tank. So maybe that's the key to understanding the chemical balance, is having to fight dinos, and once you get through that, it gives you a bigger understanding of everything.
That's good to know.
Oh, and here we have Nora Holtzinger. So glad I found you. Ah, nice. Awaiting shipping on dry rock to start her first salt tank. I have only ever used dry rock to start a tank. I've never used live rock. And I've never pre-cooked my rock. I have always cycled rock with the tank.
Yeah,
so
me too.
The next job, the next one I do, I'm going to be pre-cooking the rock. Because
not to say you won't get any aptasia or any, hitchhikers with your livestock, but
yep.
Hey, that's part
happens.
of the hobby.
It always happens. But the whole algae issue that people have, I think it depends on the type of live rock. If you have like Pukani used to be live rock, and it's loaded with organics, and then you end up with the algae issue. I've only ever used the Marco rock that is essentially mined.
That's the one I used, the Marco, the Reef Saver rock. I think it is the Reef Saver.
Yeah. And the Texas Holy rock, and of course everybody thinks I'm nuts for using that, but it did what I wanted it to in this tank. So, and that's the other part of this. I'm moving the reef into another tank because I need to move it out of my house. When my new tank is ready, it's going to get moved again from that holding tank into the new tank. So I will be using all the rock I have right now with all the corals on it in the new tank. And that's going to be interesting too, to see what I can do to minimize bringing over pests and problems. Because I don't have a lot now. With the bumblebee snails taking care of vermeted snails, I've got hardly any of those. With the foxface looking after the bubble algae, I don't have any aptasia, so it'll be truly interesting to see what happens when I move the reef into the brand new tank. So that's another whole thing that I've never done before. I've usually started over again with new rock and moved coral onto the rock. I have not moved entire coral covered structures into a new tank. So it's a lot of learning going to be going on here. There, Stan is asking percentage intensity maximum for an AP 700 on a basic reef with Xenia. Well, I can tell you my AP 700 is 14 inches off the water, and the maximum I run it is around 45%, and it's in the blue range. I don't use any of the wheel that has white. I'm down in the lower part of the color wheel. On the left hand side, there's I think 3 shades of blue, and I'm straddling the second and third. And yes, I do wish the colors had a name and I could just type in a percentage and I could say, yeah, I've got, this percentage of that color. But yeah, it's maximum 45% intensity, and it's one of those 3 blues at the bottom. I'm almost sure it's straddling the second and third one, because the wheel is divided into pie-shaped segments, and you just slide around it, and as you slide around, it gets whiter towards the top. It's been a long time since I had the app open, but yeah, that's the intensity I'm using, and I am getting about 317 par in the top of my tank, about 2 inches below the water, sort of in the hot spots on either side, anywhere between 290 and 317, something like that, with that setting. So I don't know if that helps. And what else we got going on here? Brian, Blue Carbon Reefing says buy a kid's microscope and then you can identify your dino. And that's something that Fish of Hex advocates as well. He sells dino identification kits where you buy the kit, he sends you a mailer, you get a sample, send it back, and he will identify it for you. It's a prepaid envelope you send back, and he'll identify it and tell you how to get rid of it. So if you run into a situation where you just can't beat it, that might be another option for you.
Yep.
What else? Brian's Aquarius. Thank you for the super chat. You guys are awesome tonight. You're going to need some drinks and sides to go with that pizza. That's great. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Drama D says he used Refresh for 7 doses, then Waste Away for 7. Hydrogen peroxide, 30 minutes after lights out. And he ran a UV. Yeah. Sounds like a reasonable program. H2O2, that's powerful stuff. Well, I think that's everybody.
I think I'm going to call it a night right now.
Yeah, I probably should too. It's 11:30. I have to wind down after this. The adrenaline of all the chatting with you guys for the couple of hours. I usually watch the replay and see what, if anything, I missed to talk about next week. And then I'll sleep until noon tomorrow.
That sounds like a plan.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much again for letting me in again.
I'm glad to have you, Oscar. It's always interesting to talk to you, and I thank you for the information about the calcium reactor. I promise I'll do some reading and research so that I have a little bit more intelligent level of questions next time.
Oh, it's all good. We're all learning. So, you have yourself a good night, and everybody here in the chat, you guys have a good night also.
Yep. Thanks, Oscar.
All right.
Stay safe.
All right.
All right. See you later. Bye. Okay. Well, it's been quite the night. Lots to talk about. Thank you to everybody who came in, and I should say thank you too to the people if you're watching the replay, because if you've got all the way to the end, that's wonderful. And I guess we'll see you next week. I'll see if I can line up a couple of guests I had in mind talking to people, and maybe talk about a few different things. I'm hoping to put a video out this week on my Sun canister filter. And I don't know if you were here when I said the title of the video is going to be Will I Be Sorry? And we'll see. We'll see how that all goes. So once again, thank you everyone. I really do appreciate you spending your time here. I get a lot out of this. I learn a lot, and I really enjoy it. So we'll see you next week. Good night. Well now, thanks so much to everyone who came along tonight, in the studio, in the chat, and watching. And to those of you who are watching the replay, thank you too for sticking around to the end. I hope you'll join me for next week's live stream, Saturday, May the 9th at 9 p.m. Eastern. Stay safe, everybody.